morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to welcome all of you to today's virtual panel discussion on palm oil's role in health, nutrition, sustainable growth in India. We are hosting this important conversation in collaboration with the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries, CPOPC. India, as one of the largest consumers and importers of palm oil, plays a crucial role in shaping the sustainability and health narratives around this versatile commodity. We all know that palm oil is more than just a cooking ingredient, it's a household staple. Think about everyday snacks and confectionaries like namkeens, biscuits, chocolates, and even cosmetics and toiletries such as shampoos and soaps. Palm oil is present in all. Not to forget food processing, the pharmaceutical sector, and even biofuels. It's almost omnipresent. And for a good reason. It's neutral in taste, affordable, stable at high temperatures, and offers a long shelf life. But despite its wide use, palm oil often finds itself at the center of controversy, mostly due to concerns around health and environmental impact. While discussions around palm oil's impact continue, it is important to acknowledge its nutritional value when consumed in moderation. And when sourced sustainably, palm oil can be a viable part of a balanced diet. So, in this webinar, we will address misconceptions and provide evidence based insights into the health benefits of palm oil, while also acknowledging and addressing concerns about its consumption. We will explore how sustainability frameworks such as the Indonesian Sustainable Palm Oil ISPO and Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil MSPO are working towards responsible production of this essential commodity to support food security, nutrition, and economic growth without, of course, compromising environmental sustainability. By bringing together these key stakeholders, we want to have a well rounded conversation about what's fact, what's fiction, and what's possible. So, without much ado, let me start by introducing our esteemed panelists for the discussion. We have with us Her Excellency Ina Krishnamurti, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to India and Bhutan. His Excellency Dato Muzaffar Shah Mustafa, High Commissioner of Malaysia to India, Dr. Suresh Motwani, Regional Head Vegetable Oil Solidaridad and Secretary General Asian Palm Oil Alliance. Dr. Sanjeev Kanjilal, Senior Principal Scientist, Department of Oils, Lipid Science and Technology, CSIR, Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, Hyderabad. And finally, Mr. Saugata Niyogi, CEO, Oil Palm Business, Godrej Agrovet. I really look forward to having a very exciting conversation, illuminating conversation today with these very, very esteemed panelists. So first up, Dr. Kanjilian, I would like to ask you, uh, when it comes to the nutrition side of things, there are a lot of misconceptions and when it comes to discussions around palm oil. So, for our audience, could you please clear some of the general misconceptions around the health and nutritional value of palm oil?
Sure. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Regarding this misconception or myths associated with consumption of palm oil has no scientific basis. If you look at these, most of this misconception and myths are circulated through social media, where there is no actually most of these things are anonymous in nature and with some vested interest. I can give a literature report, scientific evidence of a study published in 2019, about wherein the authors actually carried out meta-analysis of several human clinical trials conducted over a period of 1975 to 1982 over 533 subjects, wherein it was compared consumption of palm oil with several other oils such as groundnut, sunflower, soybean, and canola oil. And the result shows that there is no significant difference in the level of total cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, triglyceride, and the ratio of total cholesterol to HDL. This is the scientific basis. So whatever the myths are there has no scientific basis. I also want to bring to your notice some of the structural as well as nutritional facts of palm oil. So first of all, already you mentioned high thermostability, high shelf life, and high smoke point make palm oil ideal for traditional Indian way of cooking, especially deep frying. Another advantage is that palm oil has got no flavor, so it doesn't interfere with the flavor of the food. So this is the structural facts. Nutritional facts coming to that, palm oil is the only oil which contains both tocopherols and tocotrienols. In general, all edible oils contains only tocopherols. Palm oil and rice bran oil, these are the only two oils which contain not only tocopherols and tocotrienols. And as you recall that tocotrienols had many other additional health benefits other than being just provitamin E or fat soluble vitamins or natural antioxidants. These are known for hypocholesterolemia activity, anti-cancer, and neuroprotective properties. So all these things are there in palm oil. Palm oil also contain a coenzyme Q10, which have an antioxidant activity, and it is supposed to protect cell from damage by free radicals and other reactive oxygen species. These are the nutritional benefits of palm oil. Coming to the structural benefits of palm oil, palm oil has been targeted because of the presence of high content of saturated fatty acid. But it is very important to know the orientation of those fatty acids over the glycerol backbone. So palm oil contains 32 to 38 to 42% of palmitic acid, but fortunately, 87% of those palmitic acids are there in SN13 position of the glycerol and only 13% in the SN2 position. This is a little bit difficult to explain. If you look at the structure of the glycerol, it has got three positions. Whenever we 1, 2, 3. So whenever we eat any fatty food, it gets digested by the action of digestive enzymes, and the enzymes are 1,3 specific. That means it cleaves fatty acid only from 1 and 3 position, keeping the fatty acid natural distribution of fatty acid as second position intact. And these are the fatty acids which absorbed and metabolized in the body significantly more though than those fatty acids which are released from 1 and 3 position. So even though it is rich in palmitic acid, not all fatty acid will be absorbed in our system. So it is not correct to judge a oil on the basis of a single parameter, neglecting other nutritional benefits of palm oil and also different other fractions. Already it is explained that omnipresency of this palm oil in several food as well non-food sector. So this is how I should answer your question. I have answered it, I hope.
Uh, that was very insightful, Dr. Sajid Kanjilal. I think when we started our introduction, we did mention that we will be giving evidence based insight, and that's exactly what you have done. You have given us hard facts backed by data and research. So, thank you very much. Moving on to Mr. Saugata Niyogi, who is the CEO of oil palm business at Godrej Agrovate. Sir, the question to you is India is really ramping up its oil palm cultivation under the National Mission on Edible Oils Oil Palm NMEOP. With that kind of momentum, how do you view the responsibility of agribusinesses in ensuring sustainability on the ground level?
Yeah, good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for bringing such an important and interesting topic for the discussion and allowing me to speak on this topic. Uh, as you rightly pointed out, there is quite a buzz 2021 August onwards when there is a national policy which is called National Mission on Edible Oil Palm has been launched by our Honorable Prime Minister, and that scheme has a separate focus how domestically uh, oil palm can be grown in India, because this is the largest edible oil commodity we are buying, third largest in terms of our import bill, which is about a lakh crore. And of course, something has to be done because the increasing population with increasing per capita income, per capita oil consumption, the thing is going to be, the import quantity is going to only grow from here further. And only 4% of the total import is domestically produced, which is extremely vulnerable condition at this point. Having said that, let me give some of the data point, which is very critical to for the audience to know. India, as we know, that we have a very versatile agroclimatic zone within the country, more than 9 agroclimatic different zone where uh, multiple crops are being grown. Total 140 million hectare of agricultural land is cultivated. 40 million hectare, about 30%, is already under oilseed. But what is very unfortunate part of it is, even with 40 million plus hectare, we are hardly producing 40 million ton of grain, oilseed grain, which produce 11.5 to 12 million ton of oil, vis-a-vis our domestic requirement of 26 to 27%. So hardly 40 or even 38% we are producing today. Now, why palm oil is so important? Uh, if we need to grow another 60% of oil in our country with current productivity level, we need to convert another 50, 60 million hectare under oil seed. Then we'll left with nothing for cereal crop like rice, wheat, sugarcane, etc. Right? So it's an extremely important situation for us that if we address a crop, we select a crop which can produce much more oil in much less agricultural land, and that is why exactly palm comes into picture. For Although all our audience are well, all the other panelists are well informed, but for audience, palm produce roughly 3.5 to 4 million 4 ton of oil per hectare, and that's why the current import of 10 to 12 million ton of oil can be produced by only 3 million hectare land. So this is the context of agricultural footprint of India domestically. Now, having said that, in oil palm sector, the bad name mostly because of deforestation, right? That is the major concern for any consumer, that if it is palm, then it definitely at the cost of environment. Fortunately for India, let me assure that entire palm oil footprint today is deforestation free. The reason is that it is purely agricultural land being converted by smallholder. The company who are producing raw material, buying from farmer and producing palm oil in India, do not hold any their own plantation, and they all actually buy from smallholder farmer. And this smallholder farmer are being converted under this crop by government scheme, where they are supposed to provide their land revenue record, title ownership of the land, which is purely agricultural land. So the myth of cutting forest and converting oil palm as a crop is no longer valid, at least in the country. Uh, on the expansion side, what NMEOP has done, basically the potential in India across some 12 states to grow oil palm is mapped by the ICAR institute called IIOPR, Indian Institute of Oil Palm Research. Dr. Suresh is the head of director of the institute now, and this whole expansion from 1.8 million hectare to 2.8 million hectare of potential, which is launched in NMEOP across 12 states, is well documented in a uh, which is in public domain. That document has actually validated the potential based on the agroclimatic requirement of this crop, and also validated on by the scientific community. And those areas which under different states are demarcated across 70, 80 odd districts, and those districts are only targeted for oil palm by respective state government under this scheme, where it is purely targeting agricultural land. So what I'm trying to tell you is that even if this expansion journey, which government of India talking about 1 million hectare by 2030, from current base of hardly 400,000, which is about 4 lakh hectare, to reach 1 million, the first milestone, is going to be purely agricultural land, has nothing to do with any deforestation. So therefore, the question of the first concern of environmental aspect and sustainability pillar is well addressed. I pause here. Probably I have exhausted the time by now. Thank you.
Uh, that was very, very encouraging because you have made us feel that yes, our forests are safe. That's one, and you've given a very good perspective about the requirement that India has for palm oil and the gap that needs to be fulfilled. So thank you very much. Let's move on to the next question, and that's for Dr. Motwani. Here, I want to zoom out a bit and look at the policy and sustainability landscape and what the government is doing. So, we are seeing growing awareness in India around how our edible oils are being sourced. So, can you walk us through how sustainability frameworks like ISPO and MSPO are aiding the Indian market? And how can India align its domestic goals with these global standards?
Sure, sure. When we talk about the sustainability, unfortunately, people's more focus on the environment only, but the sustainability has the bigger umbrella. It's not only about the deforestation or the peatland or the biodiversity. It's also matter a lot on the social agenda, legal issues, how the smallholder can to be benefited. So it's about the local, national, regional realities who define the sustainability in the longer term. When we talk about the edible oil in India, it is highly better. Basically, we are depending on the other countries for our 70% of the edible oil requirement, and most of the this come through the palm oil through Malaysia and Indonesia. And it's very fortunate. It's very good. Malaysia and Indonesia, both countries have taken the serious effort to make the palm oil sustainable in their local regional realities. Malaysia has the National Sustainability Framework called the MSPO. Also, the Indonesia has the ISPO, Indonesian Sustainability Palm Oil Framework. Both countries are really working very hard to support their smallholder farmers to make these palm oil plantations, cultivations more sustainability. India being a larger importer from these countries, we are in the, I can say, the catalyst role where all our effort will make the sustainability as a norm. So, as a India, we already initiate some efforts along with the nodal agency like C, the Solvent Exploration Association, and along with the IOPR, which is supported by the Solidarity. India already have the own sustainability framework called the IPOS. So the now real question is the how we are going to be aligned between these all sustainability standards, where India being a country should support their own sustainability criteria and as well as to support and enhance the sustainability criteria within the other countries from where we are buying the palm oil. So our effort is going on the same direction. MSPO and ISPO is a sufficiently strengthened framework to support the sustainability. IPOS in India is there. Now effort should be going toward the alignment between these all standards, where the India should be in the role to support the IPOS through different trade practices, also the cultivation practices within country, and where can the countries from the palm oil from the countries from Malaysia and Indonesia can be inbuilt with the IPOS framework. So for our view, basically, when we see the long-term sustainability, so we have to be intent with our own national sustainability guidelines. This is IPOS, and IPOS is more endorsed from the MSPO and ISPO. So this is a win-win scenario for the palm oil producing countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, and countries like India, where the sustainability norms can be endorsed each other. So the ultimately the consumers will be benefited in India, and also the producers in the Malaysia and Indonesia who highly depend on the palm oil can be supported with these all arrangements. And sustainability being a consumer level, it very well need to be designed, defined in the appropriate way. It's not only about to be the no palm oil. We should talk about the palm oil. We are already aware about the how the palm oil is pertaining to the different type of products. It's not only about the oil. Palm oil is elsewhere in the different type of products. So we should accept the reality. India is depending on the fulfillment of the oil security through palm oil through these two countries. We should have to be support each other to define and sustain with these all oil farm producers and consumers who are eating the palm oil in countries like India. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Motwani. I think you have explained very, very well how India can has a lot to learn and will continue to learn from these two countries. And that naturally takes me to our next question, and that is I'm addressing Your Excellency, Mr. Mustafa. Um, Malaysia has been a leader in promoting sustainable palm oil through the MSPO initiative for a very long time now. And given the deep trade ties between Malaysia and India, how do you see these sustainability efforts evolving in the next few years?
Thank you very much for the question, Ms. Shivani. Namaskar and warm greeting to all panelists as well as all those who following this webinar. It's an honor for me to be able to join this important discussion on the role of palm oil in both health and sustainability. I'm pleased to be able to share insight from Malaysia on this topic. Not only palm oil as a very versatile oil, but also from the economic perspective, um, as a tool for global food security, nutrition, and environmental responsibility. Of course, as you mentioned, Malaysia and India share a long-standing and dynamic trade relationship, underpinned by strong economic complementarities and mutual interests. We can see in recent years, bilateral trade between Malaysia and India has reached close to $20 billion dollars annually, with palm oil playing a central role in this partnership. Malaysia is one of the top suppliers of palm oil to India, consistently ranking among the largest exporters of this commodity, approximately around 2 to 3 million tons annually, valued at around $2.5 billion dollars. Just before I go further, just would like to emphasize on the importance of palm oil to Malaysian economy. The palm oil industry has long been an important pillar of our economy. Although it contributes only about 3% of our GDP, the importance of palm oil industry goes beyond this number, as close to over 3 million Malaysians benefit directly and indirectly from palm oil industry. This consists approximately 500,000 people work directly in the palm oil sector, including in plantation, operation, mills, and processing facilities. And so there are around 450,000 smallholder farmers in Malaysia where most of the palm oil comes from. And about 2.5 million people are involved in supporting industries such as transportation, manufacturing, logistics, export services, and supply chain businesses. So goes to uh, your question about Malaysia's sustainable palm oil, or in short, we call it MSPO certification. It is a national initiative introduced by Malaysian government to ensure that palm oil production in Malaysia is sustainable, environmentally responsible, and socially equitable. MSPO has been made mandatory in 2020. It sets national standards covering legal compliance, good agriculture practices, environmental protection, and workers' welfare across the supply chain. MSPO supports Malaysia's climate goals, enhances the global image of its palm oil, and includes smallholders in sustainable practices. Unlike other international certifications such as Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil or RSPO, which is voluntary, MSPO is tailored specifically to Malaysia's context and legal framework. Looking ahead, as Malaysia and India continue to deepen our trade ties, especially in palm oil sector, I believe these sustainable efforts will evolve through closer bilateral collaboration, technology sharing, and capacity building. India's own National Mission on Edible oil palm, or NMEOOP, present a timely opportunity for synergy. Malaysia is well positioned to support India's domestic palm oil expansion through the sharing of best practices in sustainable cultivation, land use planning, and traceability system, all of which are embedded in our MSPO framework. Additionally, With growing consumer awareness in India around ethical sourcing and environmental impact, I foresee an increasing demand for sustainably certified palm oil. This creates a market-driven incentive for both Malaysian exporters and Indian importers to align on sustainability standards, ensuring long-term resilience of the trade while supporting global climate and biodiversity goals. So in essence, sustainability will not only be a shared responsibility between Malaysia and India, but also a shared opportunity to lead by example in the global palm oil industry. Let us not lose sight on the fact that palm oil, when responsibly produced and wisely consumed, is not a problem to be eliminated, but a solution to be refined. Thank you.
That was very helpful, and thank you very much. Uh, Madam Ambassador, my next question is to you. Indonesia is not just the largest palm oil producer globally, it's also been a strong advocate for inclusive and sustainable production practices. What role do you see Indonesia playing in helping countries like India navigate their own palm oil journey?
Thank you for the question, Stephanie G. First and foremost, thank you for inviting me and my team to this interesting and important discussion. I would like to begin by explaining to the audience and also acknowledging that on the screen, I'm so fortunate to have three of Indonesia's strongest partner in palm oil, which is, of course, Ambassador High Commissioner Malaysia, Dato Musafar, and Pasures. Pasures is very diligent in sending me WhatsApp almost every time there is a pop-up news on palm oil, and he's one of the champion in sustainable palm oil industry. Neo Gigi, we met last year when I visited Godrej, so pleasure to meet you. I'm so looking forward in working with Dr. Kajilal. This is the first time we met, Sergi. So we do hope that in the near future we will have a discussion with you on what we can do together as Indonesia and India in this regard. So let me start by give a brief kind of information about the Indonesian sustainable palm oil. The certification was introduced in 2011, and the revision of this certification happened two times, 2016 and 2020. We want to always make it better because it needs to be relevant with the current progress and development. And this certification is was introduced because we see, I concur with Dr. Motwani, that this is not about environment only. This is about how we meet the criteria of sustainable development in terms of cross-border society-related issues. And most importantly, this certification of ISPO focus on smallholders farmers. I believe this is also very close to the heart of Indian industry. So the goals of ISPO actually relate to first sustainable development, and second, what Dr. Motwani said about legal requirements, because as we know, smallholders farmers is they always have challenges in making sure that the legal requirements are there. Because legal requirements will define and in a sense introduce the smallholders to competitiveness in the international markets. At the same time, because of international markets, and as we know, all developed countries, all developed markets, they're always very keen on telling developing countries, emerging economies such as Indonesia and also Malaysia and as well India, that we are not complying with COP26, which is the reduction of greenhouse gas emission, for example. That's why Dr. Mawani more underline, emphasize this is not about environment only. So I would like to emphasize on the characteristic first. So the characteristic of ISPO, Dr. Motwani mentioned about EPOS. A bit different than what India has in terms of certification. ISPO in Indonesia is driven by the state, the government. It's mandatory. We have penalty if the regulations is already 100% up and running. It will have penalties to certain extent. It is focusing on land base. Like I said, is because smallholder farmers sometimes their land is based on hereditary. The parents give it, the grandparents give it. So the land based focus is very important when it comes to smallholders. And also, this is like I said to you, international market, which is mainly to see the footprints of such production. And this is what is very crucial of ISPO, which is the principles and criteria define and decide differently for companies and for the farmers. For the companies, there are 7 principles and 30 criteria, many. So that means many criteria. But for the farmers, only 5 principle and 12 criteria. And currently, uh, I'm sorry to brag, ISPO is currently the world's largest palm certification scheme. It covers 5.68 million hectares. And to tell you the truth, combining, because Dato Muzaffar already mentioned about MSPO, combine MSPO and ISPO, we cover over 11 million hectares of palm oil plantations. So this compares to RCO, which is half of it, 4.9 million. For sure, many plantations in Indonesia and in Malaysia hold 2 certifications, which is national and RSPO. So the magnitude of this certification, ISPO, it goes beyond any other agricultural commodity. So um, Indonesia is very proud to make palm oil as a leader in legal and sustainable crop production. Um, to your questions, we need to I need to again prioritize what ISPO is. ISPO is, like I said, and reiterate, it's not about environment only. It's beyond that. It's on community, and the community what that we are talking about is smallholders, and the smallholders that we're talking about is 2.6 million in Indonesia. 14 million families, related industries, the schools, the hospitals, the clinics, the all total impacted by this certification is around 14 to 15 million people. So it is very important to understand that such certification, it's not about uh, the the commodity only, but it's all about the community, society that goes with it. Thank you, Sivaniji.
Madam, you have brought across that point very well, and I see a thread going through this conversation where the farmer, the government of each of these countries are helping to safeguard his interest, and that is so heartening to hear. Thank you very much. Also, bringing on the whole global perspective and the point of certification. Thank you for that. I'm coming back to you, Mr. Niyogi. Uh, what are some of the key ways corporates like Godrej Agrovate can empower farmers to adopt best practices, whether that's in soil management, irrigation, or environmental safeguards?
Uh, Thank you again. Thank you for giving this opportunity. I think there is a lot of bright spot as far as Indian oil palm domestic industry is concerned. A story world should know. First, to address again and to acknowledge the great work Dr. Motwani is doing and his organization. To name that Godrej is also their partner, and there is a sustainability framework which is well documented by them, spearheaded by them, supported by ACA and IOPR, called IPOS, Indian Palm Oil Sustainability Framework. And Godrej is partner for that. Motwani ji knows that. He started our journey with 2,000 hectare just to experiment. Now we are going for 5 to 10,000 hectare this year with this. Uh, Let me touch on. I purposefully focused on environment in the first opportunity I got, and now I'm going to talk about social and governance part of it. And these are the pillars which a group like Godrej is fully committed to. Now, let me describe how great the scheme of Government of India, which is unique in nature than other smallholder models working across the different large oil palm growing countries. I think it's very important to have a this kind of a document in the nascent stage because it safeguard smallholder to a great extent. To start with, uh, uh, here every farmer is safeguarded for their 100% selling right. No farmer, we have whatever the produce is coming, can be denied by a company, no matter whatever the market conditions and commercials are. So farmer is safeguarded for the output selling at his doorstep. Point number one. Transparency on pricing is absolutely in the top most level because government is interfering in the price and making sure that highest transparency is maintained for fair pricing of FFB which we buy, and this is under regulation. Legal enforcement agencies are in this whole through a geo, and farmers are paid in a very specific 7 days payment cycle at government geo rate. So the exploitation for arbitrage of demand supply, which is often a problem for a smallholder farmer, do not exist in India. Now, let me talk about the great part of the scheme again, because each smallholder farmer is provided 2,500 US dollar per hectare in first 3 years by government of India to support probably for the best possible sustainable practices adoption. I'll tell you how. First is every piece of land which is converted, even for a company like Godrej, it is geo-fenced and it is in the server. We share the same polygons to the government, and government can validate that the plantation footprint is actually against that titleship of that farmer who is the real beneficiary of all this scheme element which incentives government of India is passing. Most of it is through DBT, direct bank transfer to the smallholder farmer. The second part of it is that uh, there is a component called viability gap payment. Now, what is that? You definitely are aware of MSP for most of the crop, but for a plantation crop cycle of 25 years, what uh, government of India has done is to safeguard the farmer from the global volatility of commodity cycle. They have made sure that on a annual basis, if there is a price drop and farmer is impacted, they are coming forward to rescue them with viability price versus the paid price, which is again the formula price by government. Is the difference is being paid to the farmer by DBT. So this is a great element where all smallholder farmer will be safeguarded for their financial viability of the crop in the long term. Now, talking about the whole sustainable journey of India, which is by its very nature, let me assure, around 95% of southern India oil palm sector, which is under smallholder farmer, is under irrigation, micro drip irrigation, where the water usage in this crop is really minimal. So to just to explain, it is data provided by again IIOPR that oil palm consume only 22% of the water which a paddy consume, and 45% of water which sugarcane crop consume. So you can really understand, by promoting this crop, there is no absolute threat for groundwater table being eroded and stuff like that. So the way it is being done, the reason for this is we are not blessed like the tropical countries. We are having less than 100 days of rain, but this crop has to be supported by sufficient moisture in the soil, at least so that plant can survive and thrive and continue to yield. The second, third important aspect of sustainability piece I feel is we in a year do 25,000 soil and leaf testing free of cost for for a smallholder farmer. Why we do it? We try to minimize the use of chemical fertilizer so that farmer really can optimize his input in terms of fertilizer, which he can spend judiciously so that the yield is not compromised, but excess use can be curtailed down. The third element is most of the disease pest management in this space. I can say almost zero use of chemical pesticide in oil palm sector for the grown plantation, which makes sure that entire value chain for the production of oil palm in smallholder farmer, mostly pesticide residue free. And all this is promoted by company like Godrej. We do it, the entire biopesticide and biofungicide, whatever we provide to farmer is free of cost. And we have our own microbiome lab, and we have about 25, 30 scientists working on that to generate all this, because these cannot be stored for a long time. It is a real time kind of a response which provides assistance to the farmer on time to make sure they are not using any chemical pesticides, but also managing their crop well. To support this whole thing, Godrej has come up with a unique concept called Samadhan Center. This is the last statement I am trying to make, where each center is trying to help 2,000 hectares of smallholder farmer. And these centers, almost we have invested around 12 million US dollar. Around 50 center is coming up. 25, 30 is on ground. Another 20 is going to come in 2 years. These are basically one-stop solution provider, whether it is support from Godrej, whether it is support from government, or whether it is support from institute like IIOPR or institute like Solidaridad. This is the common platform where we have built this platform for enabling farmer to come forward and adopt the best sustainable practices so that they can get access to the technology, and all inputs are supplied by the center, where they can actually onboard the best sustainable practices globally and practice it in their plantation to make sure that they are profitable in long run. Thank you.
Mr. Niyogi, thank you very much. Whatever you have said and whatever has been spoken in this session so far has been very encouraging. Especially India's efforts to ramp up its production is being backed by a lot of efforts to make sure that the farmers' interests are safeguarded. That is very good. I want to go back to Dr. Kanjilal. There is
Yes.
often a confusion about fats in our diet, and palm oil is always at the center of this debate. What is the role of palm oil in mitigation of trans fat?
Well, thank you, Shivani. And I think very little time is there. I just want to roll up fat in our diet and many food. It is a source of energy. It's the most energy-rich component in our diet. It is contain all fat-soluble vitamins are soluble. It present in fat. It also source of essential fatty acid. It also provides satiety, taste, palatability. You cannot think of a food without fat. However, fat is often linked to all chronic related diseases due to its high consumption. Other than that, fat has an important role because these essential fatty acids, which are not produced in our body, must be provided along with the diet. And oil is the only source of essential fatty acids and fat soluble vitamins. Coming to the trans fat issue and how it is coming into the picture, see, cis and trans are two geometrical configuration of double bond. It is very difficult to explain on this thing. All natural fatty acids are basically cis configuration. Trans are generated due to human intervention. There are two types of trans fat. One is industrial trans fat, and another is ruminant trans fat. Industrial trans fats are those generated during hydrogenation, especially for the preparation of banaspati. Okay, and also little bit amount during refining, around 1 to 2%, but 30 to 40% industrial trans fats are there in banaspati. But if you recall, and also I'm sorry, I forgot to mention about ruminant trans fats are those fats that are generated during the in the microbiomes present in the animal. It is very less, 3 to 5%. That is not an issue. Issue is the industrial trans fat. So if you recall, banaspati was introduced in the market as a replacement for ghee. So in those days, the deleterious effect of trans fats are not very unknown. However, based on several studies conducted in 90s and in the early part of the century, it was concluded that industrial trans fats are unhealthy, and it has been related increases the several risk factors associated with heart attack, stroke, diabetes. They have a tendency to increase the LDL cholesterol and decrease the HDL cholesterol. Based on all these studies, and also by a study conducted by our ICMR, National Institute of Nutrition, it was concluded that FSSAI took up the steps to regulate the trans fat by to 2% in all food products from January 2022. So while enacting this rule regulation, FSSAI understood that it cannot be achieved without palm oil or your distraction. So they also included palm oil and palm stearin in the permitted list of vegetable oils that are used for the production of vanaspati. And it has not happened overnight. So first, actually, this regulation started in 2009. So restricting the trans fat in food product from to 10%. Then it was reduced to 5% in 2012 and 3% in 2021, and then 2% from January 22 onwards. So giving an ample opportunity to the industry to come out with an alternative to Vanaspati. Any product which is prepared and in Vanaspati taste very good because of the taste, of crystallinity and texture of the food product.
Hmm.
It is very difficult to get a match to this thing. So this regulation taken almost 13 years. So India, being industry friendly, FSSA given ample opportunity to the vegetable oil industry or Vanaspati industry to come out with an alternative. So since then, the importance of palm oil has grown rapidly to meet this stringent regulation of trans fat, because the consistency, texture, and palatability of Vanaspati cannot be matched without the addition or inclusion of palm oil or its fractions. So that's how I can answer the role of palm oil in the mitigation of trans fat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kanjilal. Madam Ambassador, my next question is to you. Could you tell us if there are any new areas of collaboration on the horizon when it comes to palm oil innovation, research, or health or education?
Okay, because the very tight timing, I just want to have a
Yes.
very short answer. First and foremost, collaboration between India and Indonesia in palm oil sector is very important because we both have huge number of smallholder farmers. Since my first intervention, I said that already, mentioning about the importance of smallholder farmers. So I see that as always, Indonesia fully supports oils 2021. So I see, I think cooperation area. One is for sure research and development, where you are one of the champion in the world. This R&D very important for developing seeds that are high yield and disease resistant. Second, capacity building and training. Indonesia can share our experience in palm oil cultivation, while you are one of the champion in other agricultural management practices. And my last point is how to have a kind of a understanding of how the SDG works for developing countries and emerging economies such as Indonesia and India. Well, we have biodiversity, various colorful biodiversity, but at the same time, we also want economic progress and development for our society. So I think that those three areas are very important to see in the near future for us to collaborate and having enforced broader economic and diplomatic ties.
Thank you, ma'am. You've spelled it out very neatly, very clearly, the goals for both the countries. Very quickly to you, Your Excellency, Mr. Mustafa, if in very short you could say that with the India's National Mission on Edible Oils, Oil Palm, NMEOP, gaining momentum now, as you can see throughout this conversation, how can Malaysia and India collaborate in addressing sustainable palm oil cultivation?
Thank you very much. Just like to address the question as short as possible. I would just like to firstly commend the Indian NMEOP because this is a very clear, it's a very critical step towards India's self-sufficiency in edible oil. I think as what mentioned by Mr. Nyogi, and NMEOP has laid a robust foundation through crop retention, diversification, and utilization of extensive land resources such as wetland and rice fallow land, which aim to achieve profitability, farmers' welfare, and also environmental sustainability. So, as for Malaysia, as we from our experience, um, we are uniquely positioned to support India's journey toward self-reliance under this program. Maybe I can just list down some of the areas where we can share our expertise. For example, like firstly on enhancing productivity, because at the moment I think the production level in India is still low compared to Malaysia and also maybe Indonesia. So this is where I think we can try to collaborate and to improve the yield gap and also improve productivity. And secondly, on sustainable cultivation, maybe we can also share our Malaysia's MSPO certification process with India, as well as on technology transfer and also training. This is where I think we can also collaborate. And last but not least, maybe on global market integration, as India aspires to transition from a major importer to a potential exporter of palm oil. Malaysia's extensive trade network, regulatory frameworks, and expertise in positioning palm oil as a premium sustainable product can also provide invaluable guidance. Before I end my response, maybe I can just like to briefly mention from our experience in this palm oil industry. We have already started this industry long since 1950s. Um, um, from our experience, where the government has taken the initiative to introduce a government-known program as Federal Land Development Authority or FELDA. Um, by providing them, like families, land to cultivate palm oil, turning smallholders into proud landowners and entrepreneurs. This is also one of the programs that introduced by the government to address the issues of poverty in Malaysia. I think this experience also can we can share with India. Beyond agriculture, FELDA program has driven rural development through infrastructure, education, and healthcare, uplifting entire communities and creating a resilient rural middle class. Today, most of the smallholders are from FELDA program, which contributes significantly to Malaysia's palm oil output, and many of the MSPO certified, uh, proving that smallholders' inclusion and sustainability can go hand in hand. As India's expand its palm oil cultivation through the NMEOP, maybe Felda offers a valuable model for combining agriculture growth with social upliftment and also environmental stewardship. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We have room for just one more question, and that question is for you, Dr. Motwani. We have heard immensely in our conversation about the certifications by both Malaysia and Indonesia and how it is shaping their industry. When it comes to the Indian palm oil sustainability standard, which is the unique framework for the oil production in our country, how are the principles of IPOS being implemented on the ground, and what are the results that you have seen so far? If we can have a very short, crisp answer.
Sure, sure. I think this is already indicated by Mr. Niyogi represent Godrej, and we know the Godrej is one of the most responsible companies we know on the oil palm sector in India. So they already adapted this IPOS framework. IPOS is now positioning India as a responsible country to produce the oil palm. IPOS framework has the different criteria, indicators, and principles. Most the six principles align with the all sustainability criteria, including this continuous improvement and transparency. Then with the local law, the good governance, good plantations, business practices, and also to the fair labor and community relations. This also enabling with the conservation of the natural resources, biodiversity, and ecosystem. And this framework is already adopted by the many stakeholders. Niyogi Saab has already mentioned about the Godrej. We have the pilots in the different areas in the Andhra Pradesh, West Godavari, where the more than 2,000 farmers are already certified with this IPOS framework. And this framework is not only about to be sustained, support the oil palm producing farmers. It's also going to be enhance the sustainability relations between the oil palm importing countries. Like India has a relation with Malaysia and Indonesia through this IPOS and MSPO ISPO. We are trying to be generate the narrative where these all Asian countries are aligned with the sustainability requirement, where Malaysia and Indonesia is supporting the oil palm producers there, India supporting our oil palm producer there in India, and also the trade relation have the alignment between the MSPO, ISPO, and IPOS. So this is the narrative what we are developing through Asian Palm Oil Alliance between the importing palm oil countries and producing palm oil countries. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I really felt the energy during the webinar, the encouragement and the motivation for all of you to come together and make palm oil production very sustainable. And thank you so much for making this very insightful conversation. So, just to sum up and conclude, I think today's discussion really helped unpack the many layers of palm oil, especially its nutritional benefits, functional advantages, and most importantly, the path for forward, sustainable, and responsible production. From health science and food policy to farm level practices and global cooperation, it's clear that palm oil, when managed right, has the potential to contribute meaningfully to India's food systems and economic growth. Thank you very much to all our speakers and to everyone in the audience who took time out and joined us today. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's work together to ensure that palm oil can play a positive, sustainable, and healthy role in India's future. Thank you and take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.